Hey guys, it's Kay and Alexa. Welcome to our October mini episode where we'll talk about smaller topics and then give our opinion on them. Today we'll be talking about the Mason House Inn.
So basically the Mason House Inn is 174 years old. It is a very historic building based in Bettensboro, Iowa. It was built in 1848, originally called the Ashland House, and it was owned by William Robinson for 9 years. During those 9 years, as he had it, he served it as a steamboat traveler's house on the Des Moines River, where steamboat travelers can stay while they were traveling. In 1857, it was then purchased by Lewis Mason and his wife Nancy, who then changed the name to the Mason House Inn, which is what it is currently, so technically it's still in their family. Their daughter Franny and Lewis Mason both died in this house. It has gone through 6 major floods and has been a holding hospital during the Civil War. So there have been many things for it to cause them to be haunted because of how many deaths. It was also in 1913 a tuberculosis sanitarium, which is a hospital for this long-term illness because of how bad it was during this time. In 1956, it was then sold to Herbert and Beretta Redhead. And then in 1889, Bill and Cheryl McDermott bought the house, refurbished it, and redid the train station to connect to the house. And then the last people to own it, or reportedly to own it, were the Hansons, Chuck and Joy Hanson, and they have claimed over 300 ghosts have joined them today, but we are going to be talking about 5 of the most active and well-known ghosts in this area.
So 2 of the ghosts who lived at the house are soldiers from the Civil War, and some are from when it was a tuberculosis hospital. Some of the ghosts are from when a doctor brought his sick and dying patients to the building when it was a boarding house.
There's a book called Ghost Dog, and it talks about a girl who got shot by her estranged husband in the house, in the parlor, and in 1883 her dog died after. And it says that you can still reportedly see them together as the dog is waiting for them to get better. The ghosts don't harm anyone, and if they would do the same things as if they were alive, according to Joy Hanson.
Joy Hanson says not to be scared by their presence. There are at least 5 ghosts that haunt this inn. They're relatively the most active, as Joy stated, that there has or is more than 300 ghosts. The rooms numbers 5, 7, and 8 are the rooms where some of them and also the hallway and the dining room are the most active.
So that's just some history about the house and the ghosts that live there, or the people. So now we're going to get into more of like the in-depth personal stories of 5 of the most well-known ghosts. So our first one is a young boy. He does not have a name or identity that he has came forward with. He usually goes on the landing and is a bit of a trickster with people. He likes tugging on their clothes, and when you see him, there's always a weird mist around him. He is blamed for moving around items from room to room, which is also why he's a trickster. And he seems to be always waiting for a little boy nicknamed George. And he likes to knock on doors and then disappear, which is something very well known for little boys or little kids that live in this area.
The next ghost is an old woman in a nightgown and also seen in a long black dress. She's usually on the 3rd floor, the south room, and standing in the doorway, and then disappearing into her own room. That room is now a storage room for the house. And it's reportedly that Mary Mason Clark, who is the other daughter to the Mason family, people report that when they're under that room downstairs, that they can hear squeaking of a rocking chair, even though it's a storage room, so the rocking chair wouldn't be there anymore. With no rocking chairs in it, obviously, and boxes being dropped and footsteps. Other guests have heard Mary and Frank, which is her brother, arguing in room number 5.
And then when they go in there, there's no one in there. So they sometimes think it is the owners of the house, but then they realize that no one's in there as well. So in the dining room, we have Franny Mason Kurtz, which is one of the daughters to the Mason family. So she died because of natural causes, nothing bad, in front of the fireplace. So she likes to welcome people, and her presence is a very warm presence. So when you are inside the house, it may not always be the fireplace that is warming you up. She's often wearing a white blouse and a gray skirt, and she likes to nod and smile at people. So some people think that she works at the inn and welcomes people, but then other people don't ever see her, so they realize it's not someone who actually works there.
Next is Mr. Knapp, who is pretty much known as a man who was always drunk. He was a visitor at the inn that was drunk and trying to find his bed one night. He ended up accidentally going to someone else's room and into their bed. Because of that, his consequence was getting stabbed in the chest by that other person. Reportedly is still walking around looking for his bed. Whenever he's around, people feel a sense of dread.
And last but not least, we have Mr. Foggybody. He accordingly may be the former manager, Francis O. Clark. But no one knows because he is a floating head with shocking white hair on top of a body of smoke. He reportedly died in the hotel parlor as well. So those are just the 5 most active ghosts that when I researched this is what I found. Room 5 is definitely the most active, as well as the room below Mary's room. It is located in Keosauqua, Iowa, and southeast Iowa. It is also said it's located in Bentonsport, Iowa, but I'm pretty sure those 2 locations are very close to each other. And you can go stay there all year round since it's a bed and breakfast now, which is kind of crazy to me that it's like made as a bed and breakfast now. When multiple people were killed, there were sicknesses there. Like, it's just crazy how people made it into that.
You can go still stay there if you want. Like, it's still an active and running business. It's just been lots of reportings of ghosts there. So, but they're also known as like friendly ghosts. Like, they're not ghosts that'll harm you in any way.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, because if they were to harm you, I'm sure that business wouldn't be running still.
Yeah, and I feel like lots of ghosts that we know of, or like movies that we watch, they definitely report ghosts as not welcoming. Like, many ghosts don't want people to be there because like that's their area, but this is like the opposite for these ghosts. Like, they want people to come here, and they're just living their own life as if they were still alive, which is just weird to me. Like, I never would expect that.
That's the reason why I would be skeptical of these kind of reports, because I've only ever heard ghosts being like harmful or like angry in some way. Like, I've never heard of a ghost that would want you to come there, especially ghosts that were murdered. Like, when they were like that guy who was drunk one night and went to the wrong bed, he was stabbed to death.
Like, imagine if laying in his bed.
Yeah,
like he might.
Like, he was obviously intoxicated. He thought it was his bed. It wasn't on purpose, and he was murdered. Like, I can't imagine that ghost being super happy with staying in that inn afterwards, where he was killed by somebody else.
Yeah, or like people just being there in general. Like, that's where they died, so it could be their sanction of like happiness, and they feel like they belong here. And then people come and try to like change things, maybe, or like just come in, and they just don't like how people are in their business, basically. Yeah. Which I just think is kind of odd.
I mean, I guess if you like thrill and you want to go see if you're not super comfortable with ghosts, but you want to have an interaction with one, that would be a good place to go.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you want to be with a friendly ghost for your first time, this would make sense. I mean, there's never been reports of, like, people coming in now getting killed from the ghosts.
From what I've looked up, there's never been any reports of, like, anything bad happening.
It's just the ghosts who were killed in the first place.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
Joy Hansen, the last owner, reported that they're very nice, and that if you want to experience these ghosts, you have to truly, truly believe in ghosts, and then you will get, like, they might not call to you or answer to you unless you, like...
Yeah, because ghosts kind of do what they want, I guess.
Especially these ghosts. Like, they aren't there to, like, scare people or, like, haunt anyone. They're just there because they like the environment.
They must have liked it when they were staying there when they were alive.
Yeah,
obviously.
Exactly. It reminds me of this one house that I know of. I'm pretty sure it's in California. I think it's called the Winchester House.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, and it's basically where this lady, like, kept on building this house because she thought that if she never stopped building this house, then she would, like, doom would come upon her. But she also used this house so she can welcome spirits in because her husband and daughter basically died. And so she wanted this to be like a sanction for the ghosts to come and like live here. So it's like a house that many ghosts basically have like a portal to come and stay in, which this house kind of reminds me of, because like many spirits are able to just stay here and be here and live without the house.
Yeah, I would be worried about being like staying with a bunch of ghosts. Like,
same.
Like, you know, like The Conjuring, like that was a real story.
Yeah, exactly.
That was based off a true story, and people's lives get ruined from them. And ghosts are weird because, like, you can leave the house, but the ghosts are just going to follow you to wherever you go.
So that's why I would be, like, weirded out. Like, why are these ghosts so friendly?
Exactly.
Like, is there something to them?
Like are they going to attach to you? Like, ghosts have been known to, like, attach to people's souls and, like, follow them through all walks of life.
Yeah.
Like, they don't just, like, they're not just going to leave you be, which is why I think it's kind of weird. Like, maybe the ghosts are wanting people to come so they can find the right person or whatever. Because that's what I've seen in different, like, movies. But, I mean, I guess...
They feel the attachment to someone, maybe?
Yeah. Like, I know that people, like, ghosts who are angry, they want to, like, get revenge or, like, avenge themselves or, like, finish unfinished work. Yeah. So they can attach to someone else to make that happen.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So would you stay here?
Maybe with my friends. I don't know. Yeah. Not for, like... Maybe not for fun, just like a gag by myself. Yeah. But if I like was with my friends and I was genuinely curious about it, maybe I would.
Yeah. Like if you wanted to experience like actual paranormal stuff, I guess, or like the beyond stuff, then this is a place you should go because I feel like you'll actually get a good experience and you won't be ran out by the ghost or like scared by the ghost.
Like I've never had a real paranormal experience.
Yeah, me neither.
I've not really had like experiences that from horror movies, except for in 2016 when the Killer Clown era was a thing. Yes, do you remember that?
I do.
Those
were scary.
That was so weird.
It was like the best era, but it was also the scariest era.
No, it was. It's also the era that I remember the most.
Yes, exactly.
Because it scared me so bad. Actually, it scared my little brother the most. Because a week before that trend became a thing, my brother thought it'd be a funny idea to go outside my little brother's window at night with a mask on because it was like around spooky season and scared the crap out of my little brother, and he was terrified, and we had to convince him that it wasn't real, it was just my brother, there's no one out there. And not even a week later there were killer clowns walking around Des Moines.
Oh my gosh.
So that was really helpful.
That would like spark me having like the initial fear every single time of like clowns. Like,
oh yeah,
like that's a fear of clowns on a different level.
Oh yeah, no, because to him it was like real.
Yeah.
So and we had to. It was a lot of convincing to tell him that it wasn't real.
Oh, I bet.
Oh gosh, that was bad. That was so weird though. The fact that people just like walked around in a clown costume.
Like who first decided?
That's
to
what I'm wondering.
That?
Like whose idea was that even? I don't even know.
I know, it's just weird because like we saw it everywhere for a long time, and then it just kind of like went away.
I guess it kind of died down after people started realizing that it wasn't.
It was fake.
It was fake. It was just teenagers walking around. I mean, I hope it was teenagers. If it was adults, that'd be weird.
That would just be kind of perverted.
That wouldn't be very good. Because, like, mainly, like, okay, if you don't know what we're talking about, the Killer Clown era was 2016 when people would dress up in, like, killer clown costumes and walk around with knives. They would mainly try to lure women and children into the woods. They would walk alongside country roads at night just by themselves.
Waiting for a car to
drive by, and then they would go and stand in the middle of the road and just stop in the headlights like a deer and just stare at the person in the car. They would chase people with like the knives and the machetes in their hands. It was so weird. I've never heard of someone actually being killed from one of those.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, that'd be honestly a great way to be.
But think about how
killer.
Easy that would be.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
I think that's what scared people the most is that obviously people like had the idea or like knew that it's a joke, like it's a gag, it's not a real thing. But think of how easily someone with like the actual intent to kill somebody, how easily they could like get away with it.
Exactly.
Because it's like a horror movie, like the moment where like the guy goes and scares like his wife. Exactly. And she's like, oh my gosh, stop it, I thought you were a killer. And he's like, yeah, whatever. He'll walk away and like be killed, and then an actual killer will come by and she's like, stop with the pranks, I know it's you, but then then like she gets killed.
Because I know I would fall for that.
I would do the exact same thing.
Like I think I will be smart in horror movies, but like I don't think I would actually be.
That's why I wouldn't survive. I can't take anything seriously, or I just I constantly feel like I'm being punked. Like I just don't think it'd be real.
Like seeing one of these clowns, I'm like, oh whatever. Like this is like if I saw it in this time now, I'd be like, oh whatever. Like it's this 2016 clown era. It's coming back. Like people are trying to be funny, but no, it could actually be a killer. No,
it could really be somebody because like. Think about it, like if you're walking down the street and there's a bunch of rumors going around and like sightings of like just teenagers trying to be scary, and you saw one, that would be your first thought is, oh, it's not real, it's just this dumb trend. But like if some guy or some girl or anybody wanted to actually hurt somebody, they could see this trend and hop on it so that people wouldn't suspect anything, and they could actually hurt you. I think that's what scared people the most.
Yeah, it would be a great way. for people to actually, like, terrorize people in, like, a terrible way. Or, like, maybe they got terrorized by it, and so then they, like, want to bring it back.
I think it's easier being the scarer than being scared.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that's why it was, like, easy for them to actually do that. Because it's not them being scared, it's them scaring people.
And maybe it was fun for people to just go out and, like, start scaring people. But if you want to do that, go work at a haunted house.
Literally, go get paid to do that.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I don't even know. Like, I can kind of guess, like, how it started. Like, some teenagers, like, pranking their friend or
posting on YouTube.
Yeah, trying to be funny. But it got kind of out of hand when there was, like, people in cornfields, because we're in Iowa, just, like, coming out of cornfields and trying to drag kids into there.
Exactly.
And, like, standing outside of the woods, because we're a very wooded state. So that's when it got, and obviously there's YouTube videos of like stage.
Oh yeah,
like,
I used to watch
sightings.
people when I was younger, and they every single YouTube video for like 2 months was all, oh, the killer clown came to my house, and it was the same killer clown, and it was like they came to my house and they came into my car and they did this and they did that. And I'm like,
I watched so many of those, and they were all fake. Like so many of them were staged.
Yeah.
Just trying to, like, scare people.
I think in the beginning it wasn't, and then people were like, oh, I can definitely get views off this.
Exactly.
Because of, like, how entertaining
Because it was a trend.
Yeah,
so.
And it was honestly entertaining to just see, like, where's this killer clown going? Like, what is he doing? What is he going to do? Like, say, like, you just don't know. And, like, that could honestly get you so much profit.
It could. And, I mean, that's probably why the trend grew so much.
Yeah.
Is because so many people were hopping on that.
Yeah.
But
I mean, there's probably worse trends that people can make. So, like Momo and all that.
Oh, that was
I don't even know how that started, honestly.
Basically, it was like, I think it was honestly a real thing at first, but then people made a joke out of it.
I think it was
later.
a hoax.
It was a hoax. So it was like, it was a rumor that this picture of this really, really scary image, honestly, it terrified me.
Oh my God,
I was
same.
in middle school. I remember the first time seeing it.
I think that was in 2016 as well, so everything just was so scary.
It honestly, like, that genuinely did scare me. I thought that picture was actually so scary.
Yeah, same.
I think I had a nightmare about it once, and I was, like, in middle school. So I thought it was scary. But the whole point was that people would, like, upload a video of, like, young kids' shows. Like, I remember Peppa Pig.
Yes,
like
Peppa Pig for sure.
Ben and Holly. Like, there was a bunch of, like, different little kid shows.
Yes.
That, like, weird people would upload. And, like, obviously it could go onto YouTube Kids because it looks like it's innocent. A young child could click on it. But really, in the middle of the episode, it'll stop. And that picture will show up. And, like, a voice will come over it and, like, be encouraging or telling the kids to do bad things.
Exactly.
Like, there was one about, like, this, like, the picture telling the child to, like, go, like, get a metal fork and put it in the electrical, like, the electrical thing. And then, like, go get, I don't know, it was weird. It was like, go get a toaster and, like, put it in the water or, like, do something.
I just feel like there's so many trends that, like, are started to be funny in the beginning, like the killer clown and the Momo and all that. And then people just, like, some people who are just like, oh, this will be funny even though it's not, like, turn and they're like, oh, like, let me put this into a fact where people could kill themselves.
Yeah,
you know?
Because people can take advantage of a joke so easily like that. Like, I thought that was so scary, and I told my dad. I, like, right away told my dad because I didn't know if it was true or not. I was like, hey, like, my little sister was really young at the time. I was like, hey, get her away from her iPad right now because I know that she loves to watch Peppa Pig. If this is, like, a thing, you might want to, like, be watching her a little bit. And I honestly don't even think that ever came up.
Yeah.
But, like, if that was a rumor, someone could be like, oh, that's kind of a good idea, and then make that video. Like, I don't know.
If you make a trend, keep it
innocent.
Keep it innocent.
Okay, I'm all for a good joke and, a good prank.
Like, I loved the killer clown.
Those were entertaining.
So entertaining.
They were so entertaining.
But then it starts getting a little too much.
It's just difficult when people start taking advantage of that, and people with, like, actual bad intents will do it for real, and then it's scary. But I guess you could do that with anything in life. Like, like, I guess anybody could really hurt anybody if they wanted to.
True.
But
basically, moral of the story, if you want to dress as a killer clown and go scare people,
go work at a haunted house. Just go to a haunted house.
Yeah, you will get paid, I promise you.
Thank you for tuning in to our mini episode for this month.
Be ready for our November episodes coming very soon.